Can we chat? It is, I don't even know what day it is. October the 9th, I believe. I know it's Thursday. No, Wednesday. It's Wednesday because, yeah, it's Wednesday because Wednesdays AJ have chess. But it's October 9th, I think, 2024. Miss Ahavia has just finished nursing. I look crazy. It's a weekday, meaning it's a school day, homeschooling day for us. And this is how I'm looking. This is how I'm looking. From the title, The Reality of a Homeschooling Parent or Parents. You will cry a lot. I hate to say that, but it's the reality. So if I can, let's speak some reality and just me being authentic and just getting out what's on my chest right now. I don't know if I'm going to post this, but I started saying that I was going to authentically record myself in various, moments, be it for homeschooling, be it in my career, be it, just about myself, whatever it is, and just talk. And we've started homeschooling. We started, I want to say, a little bit at the end of August. And so it's been going on for a few, over a month for sure. We've been homeschooling for over a month. And, it started off strong. And it's just like now it is becoming like where I'm crying a lot. And I'm getting frustrated a lot. And I'm finding that I am just mentally drained. And let me say, I am not against homeschooling. I will always advocate for homeschooling, especially when you believe and know in your depths of your heart, as I do and my husband do, that you've been instructed by the Most High Himself to homeschool your children. We can't tell you for how long of a season this will be, but we do know prior to us even ever having children, when we were courting, or if you say dating, one another, these were things we talked about. We talked about would our children do sports, would at young ages, because we both were athletes at very young ages. Would we homeschool our children? And neither one of us have never been homeschooled, but that was something that I brought up the conversation in our time of courting because I just felt so deeply at the time. I didn't say it was the Most High instructing me, but I just knew in my just depths that I was like, I want to homeschool my children. And now I believe that this was of the Most High's doing of putting that in me at a very early age, not an early age, but early on in our courting process before marriage, so that these things we talked about, because of course if we were on the same page, then obviously that could bring, some friction a little bit, right? But because we both had this conversation before having kids, and likewise my husband was on board and agreed, when the time came and our lives were are in a position to homeschool our children, we stuck with what we discussed in our courting process. So again, I say that, homeschooling is a beautiful experience. It is one that, even with where I'm at right now and this homeschooling journey, I wouldn't change for the world. But the reality is, you will have days where you cry a lot. You may have a season where you're crying a lot. And it's just because you feel sometimes inadequate. You feel that your student, who is your child, is not respecting you as the teacher, or they don't realize how blessed they are and how much more freedoms they have, as a homeschooled child versus being in a traditional setting of a school. And so you're trying not to put those experiences of what I experienced as a child during their age, because I was in school. I was in a public school. I did go to traditional school setting. My parents put me in a traditional school. So I know the things that they don't know, and at this time probably will never know at this time, when it comes to being put into a traditional setting of school. So I'm trying not to use that in a frame of comparison to them, but they still need to know that they have so much freedoms. that many other children, be it their parents don't have the opportunity to homeschool because of their current life circumstances, or they're just flat out against homeschooling, right? But our children are truly, if you're a homeschooling parent, you know what I'm trying to say. Your child is truly um, blessed in the sense of how you get to personally structure their way of learning. And then for us, we go based off our children's, yes, their interests, but where they are intellectually. So while the traditional school setting may say, per this person's age, they are in this grade. So we follow that to a T. But if I know that my child is not academically where he should be for reading, for example, and he's in second grade, so AJ's 7, he's in second grade, and this is just an example. He's doing academically well in reading. But if he wasn't, academically, I would still keep him on maybe a first grade level of reading for a span of 1 to 2 months, or maybe for the first quarter. Then we would reassess where he's at. And if he excels past now coming out of the first grade level of reading, then I can do more second grade level reading with him. Whereas in a school setting, because the class may be so large, the child's in second grade, they can't necessarily do that for that individual child. They may try, but again, somewhere along the lines, that child will get fallen between the cracks. And then in some cases where many of our particularly young black boys don't know how to read properly and at the proper age level or grade level that they're in. So we're able to do that as a homeschooling family if my child is struggling in that particular subject, right? Navigate through creating his curriculum and his level of learning geared to where he is intellectually and academically. Not, of course, making sure that he doesn't stay there, but again, not throwing something at him that could possibly even deter him even more from being academically where he is, because you're challenging him in a manner of where he hasn't even successfully passed the first level of the first challenge of first grade reading. So what the last couple of days have been for me is just crying sessions, and a lot of it is just some things of myself. Of life has been getting a little bit more hectic. I've started back taking clients, and so I'm trying to navigate this new schedule that I have, with me now being back taking my corrective skincare clients. If you don't know, I'm an esthetician, and so I also work from home. I have an at-home based studio separate from our main level of living quarters. And so for me, it's like I truly work from home all day every day. And so it's very important that not only the children have a change of scenery at times, but I likewise too need to have a change of scenery, because working from home is great. It comes with many perks, but it also has, as with anything, if we're talking about balance, it has some cons to them. And so you have to make sure that you remain balanced. And so a lot of what I'm experiencing and feeling, I know is not partially it's not all just on homeschooling, but it's also due to the new schedule of where I have my life with taking clients, and then now having another baby. So it's different. I don't have just two kids and that are 7 and 4. I have a baby who is very active and wants to get into things, and she may have her crying sessions because she's teething now. And so I find that sometimes it interrupts our learning lessons, or the kids feeling like, oh, mommy's not, she's taking a break from teaching us so we can go do what we want to do. So it's a lot that goes into it. And of course, I know some people content create about homeschooling, the amazing, and I do too, the amazing lesson plans and the fun that you have. Oftentimes catch those in the raw moment content of footage of the reality too of homeschooling. I'll give an example. This past last week, we went to the library. I decided, kids, we're gonna get out the house. We're gonna go to the library, which is like our second home, I always say, and we're gonna rent out a study room, and we're gonna use the whiteboard. AJ, since you're learning multiplication, I can write them nice and big across the whole whiteboard down there because it takes up the whole wall, whereas ours is a little bit smaller. And I got your lessons planned, and baby, if I could ask that library for the footage of us in that study room, I said to myself, I said, I bet you if they watching, they probably like, I'm not doing homeschooling. That's just too much. Oh my gosh, like what is going on? Because that is exactly how I felt, how I knew it looked. She's getting into everything because she's trying to walk, or she is walking, but crawling, walking, getting to the trash. That day particularly, Ivia just felt like I'm not having it. I don't want to learn. I don't want to cooperate. I don't want to listen. I want to do what I want to do. AJ then decides, well, Ivia's not, and so it was so chaotic that I almost felt like I was getting ready to scream something awful, where everybody in the library would have came downstairs thinking that something bad happened. But it was just because internally I was trying to remain calm, remain gentle, still have discipline, and put the kids in their place. Okay, let's take a break. Let's walk away and let's go do something else. Let's do a brain break game. And it was just like that day, nothing was working for them. And after we did get it together, we got everything done. After who knows how long it took us just to get a few lessons done, a few assignments done. It took forever. But we got through it. And later that day, at some point, I just broke. I just screamed. I cried. And that's just how I've been feeling like, the last couple of days for lessons have been going. And part of it is to what I'm looking at as I'm sitting back and I'm even talking and I'm assessing things is my level of organization from when we first started to where I am now could be better. And so I'm telling myself, Kayla, you have to get back better organized, but remain consistent in your organization. That's super key, at least for me, that I'm recognizing is that, like with most things, we start off strong, we do good, but somewhere along the lines, we start to dwindle, in our consistency or being organized and all those different things. And then you begin to see the trickle-down effects of that and the result of that. And so I'm reminding myself as I'm speaking to you all, that's one area that I know I need to get back on my post in regarding to homeschooling, is getting back organized with the lessons and remaining consistent in that, and picking a scheduled date, if it be the first day of the week, or if it's that Friday, since they go to homeschool co-op, where I'm working on the lessons for the following week for 2 weeks. I try not to do a full monthly lesson plan. I tried that last year, and it had its pros, but also had its cons too. But I find that I do better with not putting too much on my plate of trying to plan so far ahead. So planning 1 week in advance, or 1 or 2 weeks in advance, is more of my speed as a homeschooling parent. But yes, you will cry a lot, but you have to remember why you're doing what you're doing. You have to also remember to take a break and a step back, and also have those conversations with your children if they are of age where they can communicate and understand emotions. Today was another day where I cried before I made this video. My son just, is, so when we did his assessment test with a certified teacher, it came back that he's a mathematic kinetic spatial learner. So he's very good with math. He loves to be hands-on and active and use his imagination. And so also too with kinetic learners, from what the teacher assessment was telling us, is that, sometimes allow him to play the role of a teacher. Obviously he has that. I love that for him, but he has to know when that time is allowed, and that can't be all the time. And so of course with him, if he feels like, oh, I know this already, you don't have to repeat it to me, you have to tell me, he gets into this funk. And especially if it comes with, knowing for him, he is very reward driven. So if you want to get this, then you have to do this. So we have a rewards driven based type of learning system. And for him, it's like, I want my reward right now. Like, I know this already. And so we were going over his multiplication, and I'm noticing that the way in which we are learning his multiplication, I've shown him various ways where he can learn. For example, if you're learning your multiplication by twos, in that case, you can still use your fingers for the multiplication by twos. You can also use beads, or have your scratch paper, or just based off memory, right? Or learning by song. So I've been teaching him different ways in which he can remember, but also to learn multiplications, but he can determine what is the best way for him of remembering those multiplications. And so today, again, he just felt like, I know this already, I don't gotta listen to you, I'm gonna do what I want to do, give you my snack, I'm gonna get up and get my own snack, I'm telling you to sit down. He's like, no, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And it just, just made me so angry and so frustrated. And so, just to kind of fast forward a little bit, I sat down with him once we finally got the lesson done, after all the things I had to go through just to make sure we got the lesson done. I sat down and I told him, and I asked him, I said, how do you think your behavior is towards me? Not in the, I know that you see me as mommy, but I'm also a teacher to you, teaching you about life, about education regarding to your schoolwork, even sometimes about sports, even chess, since you're learning chess. But how do you think your behavior is towards me as of lately? And he responded in the way he responded. It's not good, but I want the candy. I want my reward. And so I do encourage that if your child is at a level of maturity to understand emotions, and you're able to talk with them, and yes, he's still 7, so he's looking off everywhere, getting fidgety, but you have to rein him in and say, look, as I told my kids, when I'm talking to you, look at me in my eyes, because I'm looking at you. I'm not over there. I'm not down there. Right here. Look at me. When someone's talking to you, you show them respect and you look at them. And of course, my children, they do. Now, do they stay that way the whole time of the conversation, depending on how long it goes? Probably not. But it's my job to reiterate, I'm right here. Look at me. I'm talking to you. I'm finding it disrespectful that you're not listening to me, or that you're not looking and listening to me. And so, my solution, and saying that it's okay to cry. It's okay if you have a season like where I may be in right now. I feel like it's been a long time, but if I'm being honest, it's probably only been like 2 weeks like this, or a week and a half like this. And I'm not going to allow it to go much longer, but I do need to get a grip on what's going on in our homeschooling setting. I'm so grateful my husband and I this school year round decided to try out the homeschool co-op here where we are located, though they meet only once a week, which is every Friday. It has been such a breath of fresh air for me. I didn't know how bad I needed that. And so, shout out to Rabbi Fournier for connecting us with a sister from their synagogue who has homeschooled her children from their youth on up to high school age. Her oldest daughter is in college and she's doing great. I got the opportunity to interview her a little bit, so maybe I can edit that video and show you guys that. I got to interview her and ask her some questions about her journey as a homeschooling child, and now going to college. That has been for her, and it was very, very eye-opening and beautiful journey. And for her, she said she wouldn't have it any other way. She's grateful her parents did homeschool her. But I am just so grateful for the homeschool co-op. And while it's just one day, the first day that they went, I struggled because that meant entrusting my children. Well, that meant entrusting Anthony and our children, with someone else, other teachers. That means he's going to have other learning styles he's going to learn, and I want that for him. But after that first day, I look forward to it just as much as they look forward to co-op, because it also helps them to see that, oh, there are other kids who are just like me. They're homeschooled like me. They go to the library. That's another place for them to have school like me. And then they meet at the co-op. And they go through lessons together. They have, their different curriculums and classes and teachers that they switch with. So it's not just the same teacher, but they're getting other teachers to learn different teaching styles and methods from other teachers. And so if you can find you a co-op after you had that season of figuring out how your child learns, you know, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Like for us, we didn't go right into finding a homeschool co-op or some type of homeschool environment setting with other homeschool kids right away, because I wanted to know what were my strengths, what were my weaknesses, what did I need to outsource help in. For AJ, 2 years ago, it was reading. I needed to outsource because me and him were not having a great experience with him and me teaching him how to read. And so I sat down with my husband. I told him how, you know, it would go every time when it was time for reading. And of course, during these ages of where they are, like Ivia and so forth, reading, you know, reading your alphabets, math, your numbers, all that stuff, the shapes, that's the most important stuff, you know, that they really need to know. Science is great to incorporate, but, you know, it doesn't have to, it's not a necessity at this point in time per se when they're around the age my kids are. Ivia's 4, AJ's 7. This one here is 10 months. She'll be, oh my gosh, November 30th. Cannot believe I was just pregnant with her not too long ago. Hi, mommy. But again, my solution is after you're able to do on your own, outsource help or you need help. And remember why you are called to homeschool. Everyone has their own different reasons, even if they are slightly, you know, built upon a little bit of fear that you have. It's okay, but don't allow that fear to consume you to the point where you limit your child to experience things in life, because you have already taken them, in a sense, a different direction that is not the normal, you know, direction for most of society. And that's okay. I tell my children all the time, it's great to be unique, it's great to be different, but yeah, you don't want to allow what fears or concerns, if you want to say concerns, you have to become the parameter of what you use to make decisions, because you may limit them. For us, it was not so much a fear, but again, a calling that we knew the Father placed in both my husband and I to homeschool our children, because when they're this very impressionable age, they are impressionable. It's important that we teach and train them in the way they should go, so that His word, the Father word, doesn't depart from them, but they also are able to learn in their learning. Yes. Her socks? What? Oh, her socks. Okay. So that they're able to learn according to their learning style. And also too, yes, certain things that are unfortunately a reality is the school. So that was into thought when it came to our decision. But your children, when they're, you know, the child of our little one, she's 10 months, we read with her daily and nightly. She is trying to get, you know, get around with her brother and sister, so that's why she's walking at a very early age. So I can already see for her things that she loves to do, which is reading. She loves to read. She loves to hold the book and turn the pages and smack the pages and stuff like that. But that's because I do that with our other 2 children. So, you know, when it comes to alphabets and stuff, because that's where Ivy is learning, she loves to, you know, listen to the alphabet songs, or she'll say, ah, ah, ah. Look at her, she's turning her head. Because she knows the sound. So, this video is already going over 24 minutes. Okay, throw it in the garbage bin, please. But this was how I looked this homeschooling day. I overslept because I was up late, spending time trying to get some me time in, and then also trying to wrap up some things with my clients and treatment notes. And so I just have to get a better system going, and I have it. I have a system. It's just, again, remaining consistent with that system. And that's difficult sometimes, right? To remain consistent with a new system you're putting in place for yourself. For me, particularly, is going to bed at an earlier time than I normally would go to sleep, because then, of course, I struggle to wake up in the morning. And once today was one of those days, I woke up late where I did not have the time to get myself together and regarding to put my clothes on. I just was able to wash my face, brush my teeth, and then by that time the kids were up, so that meant getting breakfast. We did decide this year that they were going to wear uniforms to kind of give me a breather when it came to laundry, and then also too, my son's at the age where he's like, I don't want to wear that, I want to pick out what I want to pick out. And so I found out, we were struggling with that a couple of months back when it was still kind of like the cold season, and he wanted to start wearing summer clothes, and I'm spending more time trying to communicate and fuss with you about why you can't wear this. I was just like, this year we're gonna try homeschool. We're gonna try uniforms for homeschooling, and we're gonna deck it out, make it to our own. But we're doing uniforms, and so that had to get them ready for that. And then of course I want to make sure that they kind of remain consistent on that time schedule that we've started starting for school. Say hi. Starting for school, and so by that time, looking up, it's time to get on to lessons. So I'm going to wrap up this video, and I may do this a little more often because I do feel a lot better. Necessary for us to talk after we process our feelings, emotions, and lift her up. Everything that's going on. 1 second of you. Everything that's going on. 1 second, please. Okay. No, leave that on. We're not taking it off. Excuse me. Well, you're hot because you're jumping and bumping all around my bed. So we're done with lessons for the day as this around because I need to get my clothes on. AJ has chess today. I love that for him. He loves chess. You love chess, AJ? They can't hear you. Yeah, he loves chess. So I'm gonna get my clothes on, get ready, and and head and take him to chess. All right. What's wrong? Oh, mommy. Okay. All right. Talk to y'all next time. How do I end this video, though? How do we end? I don't know how to end it. Press the X, I guess.